What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're discussing some controversy that's hitting the Xbox platform right now in Japan because apparently there is a well-known Japanese retailer that will not be selling the Xbox consoles anymore in the country because of Game Pass and poor sales. At least that's what's being reported right now at this point. But we're going to discuss that. But before we do, please make sure you hit that like button. Also subscribe if you're someone new and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now let's go ahead and get into this. This is an article on Aroged, and I'm terribly sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But this is what they had to say on the headline first, saying Xbox, due to Game Pass, a Japanese chain has stopped selling consoles, which is maybe right and maybe not necessarily 100% forthcoming, but they talk about it more in this article. But that headline obviously made big waves on N4G and of course on Twitter and on other places as well. So let's go ahead and get into what they had to say here, at least the meat and potatoes. So surprising news came from the Rising Sun this morning or recently. Geo, a well-known Japanese retailer chain, stopped selling Xbox consoles in its stores. The fault apparently would be Game Pass, since it no longer is necessary to own an Xbox to play the house titles, which would be a major disincentive to purchase. Currently, the only chains that still sell Xboxes in Japan are Yodobashi Camera and Amazon Japan. Geo's drastic decision may have also been encouraged by the Xbox's poor success in the Rising Sun, despite having always been present on the Japanese market. The Xbox brand has always struggled to break through, and we're gonna go over some of the data here because I didn't like what they put here. So anyway, the data when it comes to the Xbox sales in Japan, right now the system is at about 100,000 systems sold overall in Japan, and software never even charts. I don't think I've seen a single Xbox title chart in the top 10 or top 30 since the launch of the Xbox series of systems. So systems are not selling that well. Obviously, about 100,000 units sold from the numbers that I'm getting right now on Gamatsu and the Famitsu sales. The Xbox Series S has sold 32,624 units, while the Xbox Series X has sold 62,385 units in about a year on the market. We're going on a year at this point, so that is terrible. There's no way to sugarcoat this, guys. That is absolutely terrible for any platform. You know, the Wii U did considerably better. The Wii U would have months, or not even months, would have weeks in the December periods, in the holiday periods, where it would sell the total amount of the Xbox Series S and X combined in 1 week in Japan, and that was the Wii U. So there's no way to mince this. A lot of people are trying to say, oh, well, we saw on Amazon Japan and stuff. I understand that, guys, but when it comes down to the actual sales here, it's not doing well. So that doesn't mean the system isn't good. That doesn't mean the system isn't fun. That doesn't mean people aren't enjoying it. It just means that the system is selling terrible in Japan. That's all that means. It doesn't mean anything from a personal standpoint. I like the Xbox series of systems. I have an Xbox. Well, I don't like the Xbox Series S, but I like the Xbox Series X. I have one myself. I play third-party games on there. I'll probably play Halo and other stuff whenever that does come out. So I'm not against it in any means. However, we have to look at it from the facts, and the facts are in Japan it's not doing well at all. Obviously the Nintendo Switch is dominating and PS5 is doing better, but still losing badly to the Nintendo Switch in terms of just head-to-head sales, not as a system or anything. Once again, I have a PS5, it's great too. So let's talk about this. Is this actually real with what's going on here? Is the Xbox going to stop being sold in Japan? No. Now I'm starting to see some people say, well, if the Xbox stopped being sold at this place, it's going to stop being sold at other places. Not necessarily the case. Xbox or Microsoft could have a deal with some of those other companies to make sure that they still have them in there. I think Xbox does have a Xbox Japan like office or something like that, just so they can sell in the country. So I'm positive they're going to make sure that that doesn't happen in terms of them taking off the Xbox from the market. But I will say this when it comes to it. I mean, like the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S in Japan, it was never going to do extremely well. Microsoft is still selling decently here in the West. So in Europe and also in the US, the Xbox systems are selling well. They just don't have enough systems to meet the demand. Like people are buying the Xbox Series X like crazy in terms of what they can produce, but it's still just getting beat out by the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch. So it's very unfortunate that Microsoft can't secure enough chips. They can't secure enough of the product in stock to meet the demand, because there are a lot of people who still want to buy the Xbox platform. So when it comes to here in the US, Xbox is completely fine. There's nothing to worry about. Everything is fine. But when it comes to Xbox in Japan, absolutely, there's definitely some worry to be had there. I mean, yes, you're still going to have Amazon, and I get that, but I would say that overall, the system obviously is going to flounder. It's already floundering. It's not going to do very well. And I feel that there's nothing that Microsoft can really do about it. I mean, they've signed deals for stuff like Scarlet Nexus, right? They've been able to get some big third-party support when it comes to certain games. Even with the Xbox One, they've been able to get big Japanese third-party support stuff like Final Fantasy 15 and stuff like Kingdom Hearts 3. They've been able to get stuff like Tales of Arise. So they've been able to get that type of worldwide appeal, games that are going to sell extremely well in the West, in addition to, games that were made in Japan obviously aren't going to do well on the Xbox systems in Japan, and probably wouldn't do that well on the Xbox systems in the US, but it's the architecture, right? And obviously it's the relationship that Microsoft has, and it's the fact that you will pick up some sales probably to be profitable enough for a port, so you're going to get that port done from the PlayStation, from the PC, or whatever the case is. So I think that when it comes to Japan, though, will we see more retailers actually take the Xbox off of sales? I mean, it's possible, but a lot of retailers already have such a small stock of Xbox systems and Xbox products in the first place. So if another place does take it off, it wouldn't really mean too much, guys. Xbox is not too apparent in Japan. I mean, and from what I understand, the people who do buy Xbox in Japan, it's usually people that are foreigners or something like that, right? So how much of the native population is actually even buying Xbox systems? The numbers say not much, right? There's millions upon millions of gamers in Japan, and the Xbox systems don't sell millions upon millions. So it looks bleak when it comes to the Xbox Series systems in Japan, but that doesn't mean the system itself is doomed or anything like that. It's just how it is in Japan, and it's been like this for a long time. I mean, the last time that Microsoft actually made any type of real dent in the Japanese market was the Xbox 360. So that's where things pretty much stand right now with the Xbox platform. Even if this report necessarily isn't all the way true with some of the stuff that's going on here, Xbox has never really been doing great in Japan, clearly by the sales here. So a lot of places are probably just not going to sell the Xbox series of systems, or just have very little stock anyway. So it kind of is what it is. What are your thoughts on this here, guys? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic, I do just want to discuss just briefly about Metroid Dread. This is Metroid Dread week on the channel. There's so much hype stuff going on here. I know a lot of you guys are excited for Metroid Dread in terms of my impressions or just like some of the reviews and the sales. There's been all sorts of discussion across the place when it comes to Metroid Dread. So of course, I'll be giving you guys up-to-date coverage on how it's doing. We recently just talked about the Amazon sales with the game. We are going to wait just a little bit more to kind of see how things play out, probably about a week or so after Metroid Dread does come out, to give you guys a little bit more of an update how it's doing across the world. But so far so good when it comes to the game. But I do also want to give a little bit of a beware when it comes to Metroid Dread, because while we're not going to have spoilers on this channel when it comes to content or footage or anything like that, even with my, I would say, like pseudo review of the game or impressions of the game, there won't be really any big spoilers. People have already started spoiling the game. It is leaked out there, so some people have started putting up final boss battles and putting up stuff that's like probably shouldn't be up at this point. So just make sure you're careful when it comes to Metroid Dread stuff, and I'll do my best to make sure that, one, obviously that we don't go over any of that here, but also two, I give you guys proper warning on what's happening if more stuff is out there. So just keep that in mind when you're on YouTube. I would say probably the best thing for you to do is not actually go out and search Metroid Dread, because as soon as you hit that search tab for Metroid Dread, then a potential spoiler could pop up. This happened with No More Heroes, spoiling so much different stuff out there. So just be careful with that, guys. Now, anytime that you see something on Metroid Dread on my channel, rest assured that it's not going to be spoilerish. It's not going to be something to where, it can ruin the game for you. It's always going to be appropriately, titled and appropriately put in there to where there's no spoilers with the game. And when I do review the game, or when I do give my own impressions, I'll probably just use the trailer footage and I'll just go over my own thoughts, and I will not go over actual things that can ruin it, like certain bosses or certain abilities that are super late in the game. I'll just go over how the game feels to play and the setup and the structure things like that, and also just like the controls and the gameplay, the difficulty. I'll go over those type of baseline things to give you guys an idea in terms of how I'm feeling overall about the game, like I do for most of my reviews on the channel. I don't want anything to be spoiled either. I want to give you guys the heads up to watch out for those things on Twitter and on other different social media sites, and of course on the internet just in general. So what are your thoughts on all the different topics that we discussed here, guys? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button if you forgot to do so earlier in the video. Also, make sure you subscribe if you're someone new and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.